Good afternoon. I hope you're having a marvelous Monday. Welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Tim Buckley and Chad Silber.
You
like that marvelous?
Nice to see you all today. You can see on the sky cam, it looks like a beautiful day, but sounds like that's the problem here.
Yeah. It is beautiful right now, certainly, and we hope to keep that going, but there is a risk of some tough storms popping up, really, in the next couple of hours. So we're going to get right to it here, show you what we're expecting over the next little bit. And right now, obviously, blue sky is meaning nothing's going on, not locally yet anyway. Looking at Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point, and Burlington. But one thing you do notice, if you look carefully, you see these clouds are really getting tall in the distance on the High Point camera. That's looking up toward Mount Airy. We're starting to see right now our first storms of the day popping up, and they really are in our western counties. And we've been saying 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for our storm threat. It looks like it's maybe a little bit behind schedule, if anything. But this is the first one of the day, right near Mount Airy. Nothing severe out of this yet, but there are some downpours. Had a couple lightning strikes at one point. The way the atmosphere is today, if you get storms to pop, they could get severe very quickly. We have a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock this evening. And we're going to be keeping an eye on things because we could see damaging wind gusts or even large hail forming in any storms that are able to get themselves going. Again, hail threat is not usually high in this area, but for today, I think any storms that are able to form, the way it is, they might be able to put down some large hailstones, even large enough to possibly dent some cars. So as I'm tracking this for you, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock this evening, we're going to pay special attention to look for any of that big hail and let you know where it is. So hopefully you can get to safety for sure. Futurecast, this is right now. It kind of nailed that storm up there in Mount Airy. Notice it could stay rather quiet through about 6:30 this evening, but after that, around 7, 8, 9 o'clock, you see how there are a couple of storms that really are big and bad with that purple color, but other spots are getting missed. They will be spotty, which means a lot of us get skipped over, but if you get hit, there are those threats to consider with power outages a concern, maybe even some hail. Everyone always asks about tornadoes. There is a low tornado risk for today, not a high one. We'll be keeping an eye on it for you. And then as we go through the day tonight and tomorrow, things are calming down a little bit less hot and humid for your Tuesday. Still a chance of a spotty storm, but it would not be severe. We'll have more updates throughout the newscast.
Tim, thanks. Weather elsewhere is actually impacting flights here. We've been monitoring flights at PTI where there have been some issues because of weather in the Northeast. If you're traveling today, you'll want to keep an eye on the flight status. Maybe you got an email from Duke Energy today about preparing for outages. The utility says it has teams on standby to respond in case of damage. If you do have an outage, report it to Duke by phone or online.
One person in Indiana died after several tornadoes touched down on Sunday. Crews are trying to clean up there and throughout the southern U.S. as well as restore power so people can keep cool in what is, in many places, extreme summer heat.
This massive tornado tore through 3 miles of Johnson County, Indiana on Sunday. Officials say it damaged 75 homes, but amazingly killed no one.
You could hear the house coming apart. It was a nightmare.
John Keith hid in his bathroom as the storm ripped through.
To see your house and see the outside and know that you were just sitting there and you could have been dead.
Severe storms are being blamed for several deaths across the South, including in Arkansas and Georgia, where a tree fell on a pedestrian.
The weather knocked out power to thousands, leaving residents across the South without the ability to cool off, as they also deal with dangerously high temperatures.
It's Texas, so we always expect some heat.
Texans are being asked to conserve energy this week, with temperatures in some places already topping triple digits. ERCOT, which runs the state's electrical grid, says it's prepared to handle the surge.
ERCOT's anticipating peak demand records getting set every day this week, potentially.
At Palo Duro Canyon State Park, officials are asking hikers to take extra precautions.
The canyon floor actually gets incredibly hot. Just the other day, last Wednesday, it got to 140 ground temperature.
And up in Canada, smoke from the wildfires consumed Montreal, while also reducing the air quality in parts of the upper Midwest. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
The storms are not only affecting flights in North Carolina, thousands of flights were canceled or delayed this weekend and is set to continue today.
If it's been a while since you've made sure that you're prepared for severe weather, now's the time to do it. That might include easy access to batteries, a flashlight, medication, and copies of important documents, along with emergency food and water. Finally, does everyone in your house know where to shelter in place and how to get out quickly and safely? It is so important to have a way to easily get severe weather alerts. The News 2 app is the best way to do that. You can customize the forecast for your part of town and also get alerts from our weather team in case of bad weather.
We are following several criminal cases today in court. One is the case of a now former Greensboro police officer facing a sexual assault charge. According to prosecutors, Officer Miguel Garcia was investigating a missing persons case last month that led him to a group home. Now, investigators say he met the victim while he was there, then left once he finished looking into that case.
Prosecutors say he continued to text the woman and returned to the group home after his shift ended. They say Garcia convinced the woman to meet him at his patrol car where the sex crime occurred. Prosecutors say Garcia then told the woman to delete their text conversation. They say he admitted to the crime as police investigated. The police chief fired Garcia on Friday after he was arrested.
Brandon Bentley was also in court today. You might remember he was the man that was arrested after being accused of bringing multiple weapons on the campus of North Carolina A&T. Bentley claims he thought people were following him back on March 26, so he tried to get help from a police officer. Police said Bentley was violent, making threats to law enforcement and chasing unarmed security guards on campus, which led to the arrest. Officers said they found several weapons, including a crossbow, a machete, among other weapons. They say there were also more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Bentley says he was in the middle of moving, and that was why he had the weapons in his vehicle. Today, he said he plans to hire his own attorney because he feels he was set up by police. Bentley's next court date is set for August 28th.
Also in court today, the man accused of killing a man and burying his body on a Winston-Salem farm. Kenneth Cox got a court-appointed attorney ahead of his next court date in a couple of weeks. You'll remember police say he killed Aaron Woods and buried his body on an old horse farm on Ever Ridge Road. Woods had been missing for years.
Firefighters from several agencies are responding to a battery plant fire in Bessemer City. Gaston County officials say the 3-alarm fire was reportedly early this morning at the Livent Corporation lithium plant. The employees at the plant have been accounted for and there are no injuries reported. Officials also say they want to assure people in the area that the smoke from the fire is not toxic.
Been talking with emergency management officials on the ground. The smoke that is coming from that fire is not toxic. So I want to emphasize that folks shouldn't be concerned about that being any sort of a toxic plume or anything like that.
People that live in the area are not being evacuated, but are being advised to stay inside and avoid the area when traveling. It is not clear what sparked the blaze.
The pilot of a small plane died when it crashed into a house in Brunswick County yesterday. Investigators say the plane had just taken off from Cape Fear Regional Jetport when it went down. The crash caused the home to go up in flames. The pilot was the only person on board. It's not clear what caused the crash.
Before we head to break, here's a look at gas prices around the Triad. According to AAA, the average price in Guilford County is $3.29 per gallon. Forsyth County is a few cents cheaper at $3.24 per gallon. Davison County's average is at $3.22 per gallon. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
As we prepare to celebrate Independence Day, you might also be getting ready for lighting fireworks.
But fire officials warn it can be a dangerous holiday, especially for kids. Sparklers are something a parent might give to their child thinking it's a safe option, but there are some dangers.
Listen to this, 1,100 people were hurt by sparklers in 2021. You might be surprised to know it can heat up to 1,200 degrees, hot enough to cause third-degree burns. Experts say kids under 9 are twice as likely to be hurt by fireworks.
Now for some advice. First, determine if you think your children are old enough or mature enough to use sparklers safely, and only let them do it under close adult supervision. Second, parents stay close and monitor them. Third, make sure they keep the sparklers outside, away from the face, clothing, and hair. And fourth, do not allow them to run while holding a sparkler.
If it touches your skin, or if any of the slag falls down, it could burn you, it could start a fire. And so there is an appropriate age. We just need the parents to determine where that's at. And, help them light that and make sure that, if it is a child, that you're right there to supervise that firework safety for them.
At the very least, consider keeping a bucket of water nearby. Make it a habit to drop spent fireworks into that bucket.
Little radar check for you. I am starting to see some thunderstorms popping up in the foothills right now. So this might be far away from where you live, but we're going to keep an eye on this because they could start to really get stronger much more quickly. If you live near Mount Airy, downpours just to the north of you, lots of lightning possible toward Patrick County, Virginia as well. We'll have more updates as we continue. You're watching the 4 to 5. All clear across most of the area so far today, but we're just getting that beginning stages of how we see thunderstorms typically move across our area. Usually the way that it works is just on the other side of the mountains. We call these areas the foothills, of course, like Surrey County and Wilkes County. That's usually where we start to see storms bubbling up, and they usually begin a little bit on the weak to moderate side. And then as they go east, they tap into some more warmth and humidity and get bigger, stronger, and sometimes you run into severe weather. That's probably going to be the case today too. Right now we're looking at Highway 421 right near Wilkes County and Wilkesboro. Nothing wrong with that, just a bit of a downpour, but that could grow into a thunderstorm over the next couple of minutes. If you're in Mount Airy, you're likely hearing some thunder, several lightning strikes close to you. Stay inside while that's going on. And farther to the north, this is up in Patrick County, Virginia. The reason I'm showing this to you is that little purple dot. You see that? This is already verifying our concern for today. Hail is going to be much more likely in these storms than usual for North Carolina, and I actually think that some of that hail could be large, greater than 1 to maybe even 2 inches. This is all happening because of a cold front moving through. It's going to push by this evening, giving us that severe weather concern with thunderstorms through about 8 to 9 o'clock. Then for tomorrow, most of the day will be a little less hot, a little less humid, still a chance of a pop-up shower for the afternoon, but the real good weather is probably for Wednesday and Thursday of this week. We will be dry, we will be in the 80s, but for late June, it is quite comfortable. We talked about the severe weather risk. We have a level 3 risk, 3 out of 5. This is the first one we've seen all year long since last spring, actually. It's not very common that we have this large of a threat of severe weather. So as we look at our futurecast, this is around 5 o'clock this evening. This is closer to 6 and 7. That should be when things are starting to push closer to the Raleigh area. But bottom line, it could be a tough evening commute here in the Triad with damaging wind gusts, hail possible, and also that lower threat of a tornado. We're going to be watching it every step of the way for you. Now, rain potential over the next couple of days, we're mostly talking about today, because into tomorrow, it's just an isolated shower or storm. After that, we have some dry weather to enjoy. Wednesday and Thursday looking great. By Friday, just kind of a typical summertime shower or thunderstorm chance. You look at the 7-day forecast, yeah, that's kind of the way June and July look around here. And keep in mind, June's almost over. July begins this weekend. We will be in the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees, with a chance of a late day shower or thunderstorm. Now, even behind the scenes, I'm going to be watching the radar all the time. We'll let you know if we see anything concerning that pops up over the next couple of hours.
Most of us have probably heard 8 glasses a day is the optimal amount of water to drink to stay hydrated, which is important for all sorts of bodily functions. That equals 64 ounces, or a half a gallon. Is that too much? Not enough? Just right? We checked in with several sources here to verify. The CDC actually doesn't have a blanket recommendation for how much plain water people should drink every day, because it could be different based on your diet, activity, body composition, and other things. Penn Medicine and other experts will often share a general goal. Take half your body weight and drink that many ounces of water per day. For example, if you're 120 pounds, drinking 60 ounces of water per day should keep you well hydrated in most conditions. But if it's humid and you're sweating, if your diet doesn't include a lot of water-dense foods, if you don't get enough sleep, if you have heart or kidney problems, if you're very active, that might not be enough. The best way to determine how much water you need is to pay attention to signs your body isn't hydrated enough. Kaiser Permanente says one of the easiest ways to gauge this is to check the color of your urine. Clear or light yellow is good. Darker could be a sign of dehydration. Other symptoms include not urinating often, bad breath, dry mouth, sluggishness or fatigue, and sugar cravings. You have to drink a lot of water for it to be too much water, and the CDC found most of us actually drink far too little. So while it's tricky to specify a specific exact amount of water any one person should drink, setting up some kind of goal, maybe with the help of a big water bottle like this one, could help with the overall goal of staying hydrated. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
That's one of the things that I've struggled with, is drinking enough water. I know I've talked to you and Eric about that. So one of the ladies in my gym class was telling me about this app called Plant Nanny. So essentially it reminds you to drink water every hour. And when you drink, then you water a virtual plant. So the goal is at the end of the day, the plant will blossom. So I downloaded it a couple months ago. My plant still has not blossomed because I still haven't been drinking the amount I guess I'm supposed to drink, but it has been growing. So and you see people make fun of me because I have this orange drink that I carry around all the time. And you know, I don't drink enough water. But I add like a flavoring to it to try to encourage
more water drinking, and I think it helps. Never mind what people will say about the chemicals that are in the flavoring.
The aspartame and all that.
I mean, I care more about the fact that I'm staying hydrated than the other stuff. But I suggest trying some sort of flavoring. My mom, she will put fruits and vegetables in the water too, just to enhance the flavor of it.
Yeah, and you can buy those cups where you could put lemons and fruit, and it kind of like sinks into the water, because I think that's the thing, the flavor part, especially, you know, if you're working out, then you don't really care about the flavor. You just want to be hydrated. But I think the flavor part is what, you know, causes a lot of people not to drink the amount of water that they should.
It's crazy how when you're dehydrated, water tastes so good.
It does.
And then when you're not dehydrated, it's just kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah. Tell us what you think on Facebook. We'll holla at you after the break. Lights, camera, action. But what happens to all the props and costumes after all of that action?
Hidden Hollywood Warehouse stores a century's worth of movie magic, and today we got a rare tour of it.
Inside a Los Angeles warehouse, so top secret we can't even show you the outside, lies a treasure trove of movie memorabilia.
This is an incredible garage right here. I recognize a lot of these.
Wow. This is the Duesenberg from Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby.
I don't want you to get the wrong impression. George Feltenstein is Warner Brothers library historian.
I mean, this is an absolutely incredible space. I look around and I see things that I recognize from my childhood everywhere.
And this is where their priceless props are stored, including an impressive lineup of 10 Batmobiles.
This isn't just a prop, it actually works.
It actually
runs,
drives.
it moves.
So I actually get to turn this thing on? I mean, this is a dream come true for so many Batman fans. You ready? Oh yeah.
The archive is still a working prop house, renting out items for productions, but some are too precious, too fragile, or too unique to ever consider reusing.
This was Vanessa Redgrave's dress as Guinevere in the wedding scene of Camelot. There was no expense spared.
The archive also offers a peek behind the scenes, production notes, music scores, and scripts.
This is the original editor's script for Casablanca. You can see it's typewritten, the pages are a little frayed.
These priceless documents share space with an estimated 100,000 costumes.
This is like walking through time.
Yeah, very much so. All of this
Matt Truex is an archivist in this vast vault.
pulled out a cool surprise for you over here.
Now, as a child of the 70s, this one really brought me back.
Well, I heard you, like me, are a Superman fan.
Yes. Is this from the first movie?
This is from the first movie. You can check out the tag here. It says Christopher Reeve.
And here's what Lois Lane wore on their first date.
This is her falling out of the helicopter. It's Christopher Reeve catching her, and you've got me.
Who's got you?
All of these props and costumes, especially the ones from the Golden Age, seem like part of a bygone era, a testament to a century of filmmaking.
Where you going, Ed? If you lived here, you'd be home by now.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Wow, how cool is that? I almost feel like they need to go into business and create this into a museum of some type. Because when he got into that Batmobile, I could see a lot of folks wanting to do that.
Well, and I mean, you would think that, you've seen things like this on display in different museums and things like that. It all just kind of sitting there, just gathering dust.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a missed opportunity here.
Absolutely, and the fact that it's so top secret that the average person can't go in there, I definitely think people would pay big bucks to sit in one of those and just to see the evolution of the changing and of the different costumes and things like that. Even if they could, put on display some of the scripts, I think a lot of big movie buffs would want to see this.
And I mean, think about how Hollywood is dealing with a writer's strike right now because of pay. Sell a couple of those Batmobiles and you'll be able to pay for everybody.
How much do you think it would go for? I think a couple million.
For sure. And I mean, it seems as though some of this stuff isn't even well protected.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about this place. I wish we could find it.
Absolutely.
It's so top secret, though. They couldn't even show the outside of it.
Maybe we'll get lucky. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, is this me in this one? Yes? Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together? Okay, okay.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Tim Buckley and Chad Silver.
Tim has been so busy over at that computer, just kind of watching the radar and figuring out where these storms are popping up.
Yeah, so we're still in the very beginning stages of our storm day. I think it's going to get a lot busier by dinner time and unfortunately for the evening commute. But right now we're starting to see those thunderstorms popping in our western counties. This is the view I'm going to show you first, though. We're actually going to use our high point camera to show you something in the distance. So take a look with me. Notice how those clouds way in the distance are getting really tall. This is something you can notice on your own if you're ever out on a hike or out on the lake or something. If you notice the clouds getting very tall, there's likely starting to be some upward motion that could start to create some thunderstorms. We're seeing that from our Greensboro camera as we look off to the north. There are indeed storms right now along the Virginia border, and we can show it to you. That storm up there by Mount Airy is the one we were just looking at from High Point in Greensboro. So we have a couple, some in Wilkes County, some up there in Patrick County, Virginia. None of these are severe yet, but we're going to be keeping an eye on them for hail, also for damaging winds, and for some lightning. They're riding right north of you in Westfield, right along the Virginia border of Stokes County. And as we go farther out to the west here, this is North Wilkesboro, right by the Speedway, right along Highway 421. Notice all of the lightning and occasionally a few flare-ups there that look to me like it's already starting to produce some hail. If you don't live there, wait, because they are moving off to the east, closer to the Triad, and we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 10 o'clock this evening. The threat is pretty big for today. We have a level 3 risk of severe thunderstorms. This does not mean that everybody gets one. A lot of you will be missed. There are storms that will be very spotty, but the ones that form could get pretty strong with some damaging wind gusts and some large hail. In fact, the hail could be larger than normal, even large enough to possibly dent a couple of cars. Take a look at this. This concerns me. As we look at 7 o'clock tonight, look at all that purple right by High Point. That type of a storm is one that could do some damage around our area. I think we'll be able to sound the all clear by 9 and 10 o'clock this evening. So we're on top of it for you. We'll have plenty of updates throughout the newscast. The weather will improve after this evening. Going into tomorrow, 60s for the morning, low to mid 80s for the afternoon. An isolated shower or storm is possible, but it's a pretty dry day. We'll have more radar checks, as I said, throughout the newscast here on News 2.
Driving in storms can be scary and dangerous, but there are some things you can do to stay safe. We know driving in rain can increase your risk of crashing, but driving in heavy winds can be just as dangerous, even for the best drivers. It's best to stay off the road during gusty winds, but if you must be out and about, here's some safety rules to keep in mind.
The National Weather Service recommends the following. Keep both hands on the steering wheel and slow down. Stay alert. Watch for objects blowing across the roadway and into your path. Keep a safe distance from cars in adjacent lanes. Strong wind gusts could push a car outside of its lane of travel. Take extra care in high-profile vehicles like trucks, vans, SUVs, and trailers. The National Weather Service says these are more prone to be pushed or even flipped by high wind gusts. If the winds are too strong to drive safely, get to the shoulder of the road and stop.
If you have to stop your vehicle, make sure you stay away from trees or tall objects that could fall on your car. Stay in the car, turn on the hazard lights until the wind subsides.
And with a chance of severe weather today, it's important to know the difference between a watch and a warning. Have you heard the pizza analogy? It might help you remember. A watch means severe weather is possible, but nothing yet happening. It's like having all the ingredients for the pizza ready to go. A warning means severe weather is happening. The ingredients are all put together and the pizza is cooking. This is a good picture to get an idea of where to be in your home in case of a tornado warning. Basically, it's the lowest level of your house, preferably away from windows. It is so important to have a way to easily get severe weather alerts. The News 2 app is the best way to do that. You can customize the forecast for your part of town and also get alerts from our weather team in case of bad weather.
Asheboro police are investigating a shooting that left 4 people injured. Today we learned 3 of them are still in the hospital, 2 of which police say are in stable condition. Police say they responded to the shooting late Saturday night on Salem Court. We learned an 18-year-old is currently in critical condition after being shot in the head. Police have not released any details about the suspect, but if you know anything, call Asheboro Police.
Surrey County deputies are looking into a double shooting involving a husband and wife. Deputies say they responded to Piper's Gap Road in Mount Airy yesterday morning and found both of them with gunshot wounds. The wife is in critical condition. The husband is expected to be okay. Investigators say they believe this was domestic related.
Duke Health is expanding its gun safety program. Doctors begin discussing safety measures at home with patients, and soon the health system will begin offering free gun locks at urgent care clinics and at primary care adult wellness visits too. For years, they've given the locks at no cost at children's primary care clinics.
The Kernersville Police Department is looking for new recruits. They're hosting an open house on Thursday at 5:30. Visitors can get a tour of the department and ask questions about a career.
7 people are now behind bars in Forsyth County, accused of being caught in the act of stealing cars from a local business. All 7 face several charges, including felonies for larceny and breaking and entering, as well as misdemeanors for obstruction and trespassing. The age of the suspects range from 18 to 30 years old. None of them are from the Triad.
The Forsyth County Board of Elections is pulling back the curtain on Election Day. It's hosting an Election Academy tonight at 6 to give people a behind-the-scenes look at the election process. They're talking about voter registration, absentee voting, polling places, and poll workers. It is free and open to the public.
Also in Forsyth County, the courthouse renovations are coming along. The county posted these photos on their Facebook page today. The new courthouse will be close to 250 square feet with 18 courtrooms. There will also be a secure tunnel for inmate transfers without the use of a vehicle. It could be completed in the next few months.
As you might know, paint can really transform a house. It can also increase your selling power. Out of these 2 kitchens that you see right here, one can bring thousands of more dollars simply because of paint colors. Can you guess which one?
Well, Zillow looked at all the houses being sold on their website and they found
experts say that buyers are paying up to $2,500 more for houses with moody gray kitchens nowadays.
In fact, having an all-white kitchen hurts a home's value by $612. Better Homes and Gardens asked an interior designer to explain the new trend. She told the magazine gray is the color of retreat as we come out of the pandemic and return to our hectic lives. Buyers want home to be refuge.
While gray is great for the kitchen, a gray front door can actually decrease your home's value by $3,300. Experts say consider a rosy brown wood tone door, which could boost your value by $300.
And finally, a terracotta colored bathroom could boost your home's value by $1,600. The bottom line, all white is out, and picking the right colors can make a huge difference in the price of your home.
And we need to bring in Tanya Rivera for this conversation too, because I would love to get the take from both of you.
Well, this is something we've talked about on the show before. I believe you actually did a segment on this, so it didn't surprise me that white was not the color that you wanted to do in order to increase the value of your home.
And I think to myself, I know that that's what's going to happen. And if you're selling your house, great, paint it the colors that they tell you to paint it. If you're living in your house, paint it the colors you want it.
Absolutely.
And I don't buy into all that.
Yeah.
I just don't. Like when I was looking at what I ended up buying for my townhouse, I don't think that the color made a difference. The fact that it was fresh paint made a difference.
Unless it's offensive. Now, have you not been in some homes, and I don't mean like your friends' homes.
Yeah.
I mean homes that people you don't know, right? Because you're looking at a house or whatever, and like one room is like bright blue, and the next room is bright red, and the next room is bright yellow, and the next room,
too much
and you're just like,
going on.
okay, wait, that is too much, right?
Do you think it's because the white is kind of bland, and if someone has colors, kind of like, oh, let me look more into this home? Do you think that that's what it is? It just gives a more, it pulled you in more than just having plain white?
I think that the white thing is now dated. Right, because white was the thing. Subway tile everywhere, white all the way was the thing. And now people go, oh, that was the mid-2000s.
Okay.
I think that's why.
Cool, interesting, good to know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't have an eye for paint colors, but.
Well, when
you know
look
who
to
we should have had on this chat?
Who?
Is Julie Luck.
Oh.
She is an interior design person, like from top to bottom. I bet she would have had some really good things to say.
Yeah. Tim, what do you think?
I love all of the colors of all of your homes. I think you're experts in this. We are still watching the radar for you. Hey, heads up North Wilkesboro. Big downpour overhead right now. In fact, if we zoom in a little bit, it's pouring from 421 to North Wilkesboro as well. We're going to be watching storms like these with our 3D radar to see if any hail will form in them. Right now, I'm not seeing any just yet with this one, but I bet as it heads east toward the Triad, it could get a bit stronger. Severe weather threat continues through about 9 o'clock this evening, and we'll have lots of updates for you. You're watching WFMY.
The camera.
Yes, and will you remind me to do that just before, because I will forget. Lauren, sorry, but I had to address that.
No, so go back.
Oh, okay.
Go back. Like right there. Because that way, because I'm going to be doing this. And can you see me at all? Can you move it the other way? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to move the God cam while I'm moving. I don't know if you can do that, but I'm going to be doing this kind of thing. So maybe that's better. Yes? Okay. You can see me because the camera is pointed right at me, right? But I can take this camera, which I'm going to do right now, and I am going to turn it around, right, so that you can see another part of the studio at the same time that you're seeing me or the other things, all right? So I'm showing you this so that the next story is going to make sense.
We came to Rome to shoot a chase scene, something with a lot more ambition and unpredictability that we haven't had in previous chases. Tom and Haley, they're handcuffed together.
People are chasing us.
Yes, they are. You're driving.
Tom had to drive one-handed cuffed, for real. No cheating it.
We built this Fiat 500 so that it would be faster.
You could barely control the car. It was treacherous.
Okay, I think it's totally cool to see how they film something and how they stationed those cameras everywhere. So I was showing you like kind of how our cameras are stationed in different places, and so you can kind of get a grasp, but that is crazy.
Very.
And then you think about, so what do those cameras cost? So all of a sudden the car, accidentally hits a wall and $10,000 worth of cameras break. I'm always just so impressed too with the ability of actors to ignore all of that and continue to act like they're actually in that moment.
Yeah.
I think about that too, or when there's a certain scene where it's a close-up and they're doing a monologue in front of the camera, but it looks like they're talking to someone else or to themselves. It is interesting to see how they're able to do that.
And this is one of those movies, right, that you have to see in the theater to appreciate, don't you think? I mean, with all of that stuff going on, no matter how comfy your couch is, right?
Like an IMAX.
Yeah, I think you really need to see it on the big screen.
With the surround sound and everything like that. I
All
think
of it.
any type of action movie is probably better in the theater than at home.
Can we please talk about the fact they're still making Mission Impossible movies?
Right? And this is part 1, so you know that there's going to be a part 2.
At least.
Right?
3, 4, 5.
Who knows? I mean, and he's the one still doing his own stunts.
It is cool though too, because you don't really see movie companies pull back the curtain to show that kind of stuff. That's cool.
All I'm going to say is do not put a bunch of cameras in your car and try this at home. No, don't do that. Be safe.
Right. Over the weekend, they crowned the world's ugliest dog. A 7-year-old Chinese crested dog named Scooter took home the top prize. A 7-year-old named Wild Thing came in second, and a first-time competitor was able to grab third. His name is Harold Bartholomew, 17 years old. He is deaf and blows snot bubbles, which charmed the crowd. His mom says it's all about representing the older dogs.
It's huge, just being able to put it out there that, you know, you don't have to get an adorable little puppy. These guys have so much love to give.
Well, I think they're all adorable. Well, this story got us thinking about what animal intrigues you the most and why. I asked you on my Facebook page. Caitlin Park says turtles are tortoises because they live so long. Annette wrote the gray squirrel because they are fun to watch and they can be silly sometimes. Pat says sloth, so cute and super slow-mo. Ernest says, as of today, it would be a camel so I could learn how to deal with this heat. Ernest must be down in Texas where it's like super hot.
So for me, I've always, even as a young child, I was fascinated by frogs that started as tadpoles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What a
Because it's like, how does
weird-
it transform into
Yes,
that?
and then then it goes from living in the water as a fish to living on land. It's wild to me.
This is like an elementary school science class thing too, where if they got some tadpoles, they put them in an aquarium, you kind of got to watch throughout the year almost. We did it with a butterfly too, where you have the caterpillar and they make the chrysalis. Remember? And you turn into a
all
butterfly.
of that.
It's crazy how some of that stuff, I mean, and it just kind of seems like humans are kind of boring.
Aren't we boring?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're pitiful too. When you're a baby, you can't do anything. You know, we talk about the giraffe and it's like walking in 5 minutes or something.
I would say monkeys are very intriguing. I do follow a couple Instagram pages where some people have pet monkeys and they can do things that are so human-like, like eat with a fork and a spoon, or walk around like they're a human and all that. But most recently, I did a speech at a 5th grade graduation and they were eagles, and I was talking about leadership, and I was saying, so I had to do some research on eagles, and I did not know that their vision was so powerful. They can actually see another eagle from 50 miles away. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they can spot another eagle soaring from 50 miles away.
Eyesight.
So they have very powerful vision. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
They're almost as good as like our radar that we have now.
Yeah.
We're scanning. We got that eagle eye radar. Maybe we just branded something.
The eagle eye.
News too. Let's go show you your eagle eye radar here right now as we are tracking showers and storms. We did mention the heat as well. The only reason we have a storm concern has to do with how much heat and humidity we have in play right now. We're in the mid and upper 80s, a lot of us close to 90 degrees right now. The different threats that we're watching here for today, always I get the most questions about, Tim, is there a tornado threat? And honestly, it's really, really low for our area. That would more be a concern for northeastern North Carolina and parts of Virginia. What our threat really high is though, we have a very high threat for hail. That's what I'm trying to say. In our area, we could see particularly large hail, maybe 1 to 2 inches in size today, and there's a big risk of damaging wind gusts too. So we're concerned about trees, power lines, and honestly your car getting dented in some of those worst storms. Now here's the good news. We've barely had any storms popping up so far. There may in fact only be a couple here or there that become the bad ones for today. This could be the first one that we start to track pretty closely. This one has some staying power. It's in Wilkesboro. It's not severe yet, but I'm worried as it moves off to the east toward Yadkin County and then Forsyth and then Guilford over the next 2 to 3 hours. It gets bigger and grows in intensity. A couple more showers up near the Virginia border. Those are not a big deal right now. Take a look though. You see what I mean? This is your Futurecast. Around 7 p.m. it has a huge thunderstorm in the Triad with lots of purple. That would indicate very large hail, lots of downed trees, lots of power outages. So I would say charge up your devices. Have a plan where you would go to get to safe shelter if we have a nasty storm. And today would not be a day to ignore severe thunderstorm warnings. I know the deal. We get a lot of them. Sometimes they don't do all that much. But today, if you get a severe thunderstorm warning, you should take it seriously just as you would a tornado warning. Stay inside until that passes. This is all part of a cold front that'll be past us tomorrow, so we are a little bit on the cooler side, a little bit less humid for your tomorrow. By Wednesday, it's actually a beautiful day of weather. We'll have dry sky there with mid 80s for temperatures and a little bit lower humidity. Here's how I see the rest of your work week playing out. For tomorrow, just a low chance of a spotty shower in the afternoon. Highs will be in the low 80s. Wednesday, Thursday, don't worry about it. Stress-free. No chance for rain or storms. But by the end of the week, we're just going to do some typical June and July kind of stuff. It's hot, it's sticky, and there might be a couple of showers that pop up each afternoon, but not too many. So with the big extended July 4th holiday weekend, I don't think you need to worry too badly about our weather around here. We will be topping out close to that 90-degree mark, which we still haven't officially hit yet here in the Triad area this year. We'll be watching it closely for you. News 2 at 5 is coming up. We'll have more updates on the radar.
Yeah, it's like turned to this side. Okay. So that was all we were fixing.
Hey, Tim, mic check, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3.
Kayon is here showing us where we're going to be standing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2.
The ham? Sorry it took me so long. I was texting my girlfriend Josie from GPD.
To say I'm disturbed is an understatement. Have you seen the video from this weekend out of Davidson County? A huge group gathered around as people are doing donuts in the parking lot. Some cars even sparking fires and swinging into the crowd where folks had to run for safety. It's not just Davidson. I saw these tread marks at a gas station in Greensboro last week. And then there's all the street racing going on down Wendover Avenue these days. Folks, we are not in the Fast and Furious movies. There's no Hollywood stunt team here making sure everyone is safe. According to Arizona State University, at least 50 people die every year from this kind of reckless behavior. And people who crashed but lived often had spinal cord injuries and severe burns. Also, it is one thing to risk your own life driving crazy on the roads, but they are putting innocent people at risk. It is time for law enforcement to crack down on this kind of behavior. Look, I know cars are cool, and there is a time and place for showing off those engines. If you want to see racing and burnouts, leave it to the professionals at North Wilkesboro Speedway. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.